the Bliss Bean. You are a unique person. That's just a fact. It's a scientific fact. You are a unique person with unique strengths. I'm sure this is mind-blowing information that you haven't heard a million times before. So I was inspired to make this video because one day I had a day where I spent the entire day in front of my computer. I was planning YouTube videos, creating worksheets, setting up my photography website, etc., etc. And maybe that sounds boring to you, but I was so engaged and my mind was going full speed and I was practically bursting with ideas and enthusiasm, and I realized, hey, I'm working, but I'm in such a state of flow that it doesn't even feel like work. I realized that I want to feel like this in life as much as possible, and in order to do that, I have to understand what I'm good at. So in this video, we're going to focus on learning about our strengths and going through an interactive exercise to figure out how to apply our strengths to create our dream lives. I made a worksheet for this that you can print out and follow along with me, so the link to download that is in the description. So if you only focus on what you lack, you'll just spend your time and energy trying to bring those traits up to an average level and even things out. Where instead, you could take what you're already good at and just run with it and get super duper good at it. There's certainly value in being able to do a lot of things well, but if you can really hone in on what makes you special, you can set yourself apart more, have a more fulfilling career, etc. This reminds me of some college admissions advice that I read about being well-rounded versus having what is called a spike. So well-rounded is a student who got good grades, did well on tests, did a few clubs, maybe a few sports, but nothing really stands out that much. Whereas having a spike is having some amazing achievement like publishing a book while you're in high school, or winning some really fancy national science award, or having rich parents and being on a fake rowing team. So basically, it's okay to have multiple interests, but you just don't want to spread yourself too thin, because it can be really valuable, lucrative, and fulfilling to really pour all of your time and energy to the things that click most with you. So, how do you figure out your strengths? Here are a few questions you can think about. First, when do you feel in flow? In other words, when are you completely immersed, very focused, fully using your skill set, and maybe even enjoying it so much that you don't feel the time passing by even though you're technically working? So for me, sometimes when I'm in flow, or when I'm planning videos or social media calendars, taking like a really aesthetic flat lay and getting everything set up just right, leading small groups of people, just creating in general. Think about not just hard skills like painting or crunching numbers, but also soft skills like encouraging people, making people laugh, or brainstorming ideas. Second, look at what activities have drawn you in throughout your life. For me, I realized that media was a passion for me because even though I didn't really draw out like a master plan for middle school and high school, I noticed that all of the activities I was kind of drawn to were suspiciously similar. So like yearbook, the school newspaper, making the senior video, FBLA. Even if it's not something that's so clear-cut, like obviously working on the newspaper is a sign that I'm interested in media and publishing, maybe think about certain parts of your job or certain parts of your classes where you felt excited and inspired. So I didn't really like AP Micro, but for our final project, we were allowed to make a video, and I was like, okay, I can vibe with that. And finally, third, to figure out your strengths, you can just take a test. Sometimes it's just hard to take an objective look at yourself because we have so many internalized beliefs about what we're good at, what we're bad at, what we think we can never get better at. Spoiler alert, you can get better at pretty much anything. So you guys know I really like personality tests, but there are also tests for figuring out your strengths. So I want to thank High Five for sponsoring this week's video and for helping me figure out my own strengths. The High Five test tells you what your strengths are based on your answers to simple, specific questions, which I think makes it easier to answer accurately and honestly rather than just asking yourself the broad and kind of overwhelming question, what am I good at? So taking the test and finding out your top 5 strengths is completely free to do. On Instagram, I asked you guys to guess what you think my strengths were, so drum roll, now I'm going to tell you. Honestly, none of this is surprising. Number 1, deliverer. 2, timekeeper. 3, focus expert. 4, coach. And 5, optimist. I almost feel like if you had to pick 5 of these to describe the Bliss Bean, those would be the 5. So yeah, after you finish answering the questions, you get your own strengths profile with your top 5 strengths. You get a little description of each one. You can also invite your friends to take the test for you and see what they think your top 5 strengths would be, or they can take it for themselves yourselves and you can compare answers. I just started getting so excited and nerding out about all of this. I was telling my dad about it and he was just like, okay, cool. So if you're a personality and self-development nerd like me, the test is free to take, so go down to the description and take it, find out your results, and then come back quick because we're moving on to the last section. So according to High Five, there are 5 major criteria that define a strength. You feel natural at using and developing your ability. You get positive energy when using your strengths. Others also perceive it as your strength. It goes along with your values and understanding of a strength, and it satisfies your inner needs. So to fully engage with and ponder my strengths, I kind of took each of those characteristics and I made it into a journaling prompt to answer. So for example, one of my strengths is coach, and kind of combining questions 1 and 3, when do I use this ability in my daily life, and when have people come to me for this ability? I've helped friends with figuring out their planning and organization systems. And then for question 2, how do I feel when I use this ability? It makes me really happy when someone tells me that something that I shared on the Bliss Bean helped them. Another one of my strengths is optimist, so I said that every day I practice gratitude throughout the day. It makes me happy to look at the positives, but I also feel really good when I can help other people see the positives. On the other side of the worksheet, that's where I got into applying each of my strengths to each area of my life. The High Five test emphasizes that as an individual, you can use your strengths to improve yourself, your career, and your relationships. So that's 3 areas of your life, 5 strengths. Bada bing, bada boom, we have ourselves a table. You can use each box of this table to write down some notes and ideas for how you can apply that strength to improving your life. So for example, for deliver for life, I said I could try some sort of a new habit for my health and well-being, because one of my strengths is being able to really follow through on something that I commit myself to. For career, I need to remind myself to take a pause before I say yes to something, because I really want to fully deliver on everything that I've committed to. So if I commit to many things, then everything will suffer and I don't have enough time for the most important things. Finally, for relationships, I just said make time with loved ones a priority. So like schedule it, put it on my calendar, because if I commit to it, I can deliver on it. But if I don't, then it might not happen. For timekeeper career, I said I want to create more systems for content creation and try to batch more of my work and schedule it. I feel like I have been getting better at that. So like filming and editing 5 pep talks all at once, or planning out all of my Instagram posts 1 or 2 weeks ahead of time and having all the captions written. But I also feel like I can get better at it, and I feel like blogging will be more enjoyable the more I can just streamline the process and feel less stress based on meeting deadlines. For focus expert career, one of the weaknesses of someone with a focus expert strength is that once we choose our path, we can get so focused on it that we might not realize that it's the wrong path to get us to the goal that we want to get to. So for that, I wrote down that I want to set up a system to regularly review if my actions are actually putting me on the right path, if I am putting all of my focus, time, and energy into the right activities. If you want to read the rest of my answers, you can just pause this video, I guess. If you're having trouble coming up with ideas for this part, after you take the initial test, you can also download a full strengths report. This is mine. It's 24 pages long, but for each strength, it gives you things to watch out for, how it interacts with your other strengths, what strengths you want to look for in other people who you're going to be working with, and then it also gives you action ideas. So that's what you can put in your table. I chose 3 specific things from this table to work on and develop this month. Since you probably got a ton of ideas here, it's good to just narrow it down for now, and then you can always work on the rest later. So I hope you found this whole exercise and nerding out with me about strengths testing helpful. Again, you can download this interactive worksheet in the description. There is also a link to taking the High Five test to find out what your strengths are. And I also have a discount code for you so that you can get 10% off a full strengths report if you want to learn everything there is to know about your strengths. It's really comprehensive and fascinating. You can always start with just taking the free basic test and then deciding later if you want to check out the full report. So yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week. Bye!